All you want is to meet your security and compliance requirements. But your business technology keeps changing. Cyber threats emerge every day. More regulations apply to you now than ever before, and your IT resources remain limited. The Center for Internet Security can help. At CIS, we work to create a safer world for people, businesses, and governments through collaboration and innovation. Using a community-driven consensus process, we work with IT professionals and volunteers around the world to develop and maintain security best practices. These resources save you time, money, and effort wherever you are on your cybersecurity journey. We also work with U.S. state, local, tribal, and territorial government organizations to share information with one another so they're stronger together. Join us today in creating confidence in the connected world. Visit cisecurity.org to play your part.
Hey, it's Kim Commando Today, your daily podcast to keep you up to date with all things digital and beyond. And I'd love to have you be a part of our podcast. You can make an appointment to speak with me. Just head over to commando.com, and on the top right, there's a button that says Email Kim. Fill that out, and that's it. So I have the brand new iPhone 16 Pro Max.
Oh my goodness.
Running iOS 18.
All the young teens are going to be so jealous of you.
I don't know. So I'm sitting there, I'm looking at my phone.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And the little orange light keeps going on.
Which one?
The little orange light
tells
you that the microphone is active.
Yes.
Okay.
And the red one's for the camera?
Green.
Green for the camera.
camera. Okay. So then I'm sitting there like going, somebody's listening. Somebody's listening. And so then I go into all of my apps. Now it's really kind of nice in iOS 18 is that you can go to privacy and security, you can go to content, and then it shows you like who's actually looking at your microphone, which apps have access to your microphone. So I turn them all off.
Hold on 1 second. Can we note the time she just praised something that Apple did? It's a rarity on this podcast. I want to make sure we have that recorded. Continue.
Yes. And this is when somebody says, oh, Game Commander, you only do that because they're a sponsor of the show. They do that, you know?
Yes, of course.
And I'm like, yeah, anybody in Cupertino, come on down because we've never gotten a buck out of you ever. So anyway, I turn off the mic on all the apps.
Okay.
Orange light's still there.
What's going on?
I don't know. So then
it can't be the Apple AI, right? Because that's not coming out until December of 2028.
Exactly. So then I turn my phone off and on, and there's no orange light.
Okay.
I'm thinking like, okay, something must have been going on in the background. Okay. Then the orange light pops up again.
Now you're the digital goddess. The people are going to come to you to figure out why this is keep happening, and you don't know what's going on?
In the accessibility settings, you go to settings, accessibility, there's something called voice prompts. That was on by default.
Okay.
And so what that means, you could just say like, open the camera.
Okay.
So there's a little bit of a glitch, just letting you know.
That it's listening all the time?
All the time. So if you turn that off, then you don't feel like, everybody in Cupertino is getting a copy of everything.
Now, by glitch, do you mean intentionally done so they can monitor you, track you, record all your information, and then advertise to you?
Well, Apple says they don't do that.
Oh. They'd be the only ones then.
But so far, how different is it from the iPhone 15 Pro Max on a scale of 1 to 10?
Sure.
I'm trying to think like what's different.
What's lower than 1?
Okay. But there is one feature that I do like.
Okay.
Is that when you're taking a video, you can now pause the video. So you can take the video, pause it, unpause it, and then like jump from scene to scene.
Okay.
So that's kind of handy.
Well, that's for the TikTokers, right? They do that all the time. That is the big thing on TikTok. So if you can do it inside the app and then directly upload it, I guess that would be a useful feature.
And the camera is really phenomenal.
Okay.
I do like the new control panel. But I didn't need to get a new iPhone for that.
No, you'll just get it with when the update comes out next month.
Right. No. I didn't need to get a new iPhone 16 in order to get iOS 18.
Right.
So a lot of the features that I like are actually part of iOS 18, not necessarily the brand new iPhone that I just spent $1,500 for.
The big question, though, is a tax write-off. Calm down, people. The big question is...
Well, there is that.
How is Apple Intelligence?
I don't have it.
Why not?
Because it's not here yet. They said sometime in October and then in December. So I am part of the beta version of iOS 18.
Okay.
And so they did drop a version of the beta that's going to use Apple Intelligence, but I have to go into my settings in order to enable it. And I haven't done that yet.
Are you going to?
Oh, yeah.
Just to try it out?
Yeah.
And if it's something that's helpful and useful, you leave it on all the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. I don't know.
Well, you're always paranoid about that stuff, so I just want to make sure.
Because, you never know where it's all going.
Right.
That's the problem. So, but I would talk to you about how you like your iPhone 16, but you're a Samsung sucker.
Yeah. It sucks, so I can give a review as well. I don't like it. And Wayne and I were actually arguing. He walked in after the podcast last week on Friday, and he was trying to show me how easy it was to copy and paste. And it's not when you're using text messaging, because you have to go to the top of the screen and then back to the bottom of the screen to copy and paste something. And I have a very large phone, so I have to travel up and down. Apple's got it figured out with that.
Well, you're still my green bubble friend.
I'm everybody's green bubble friend. I'm like the only person I know, except for my co-host, who I work with here in the Valley, has a Samsung or Android. Everybody else, they're all Apple.
You see? And on that happy note, welcome. It's Kim Commando. Today, it's your fun podcast about all things digital. What do you have coming up for us?
I've got a couple good stories. Remember that submarine that went down searching for the tour of the Titanic?
So sad.
We are very sad, heartbreaking. We have some new information that is going to make it even more sad because this could have absolutely been avoided.
I still can't believe they were using a controller, a game controller.
It's going to get even worse.
Oh, really?
Just buckle up, Buttercup. It's going to get even worse.
Oh, no. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
Yes, if you're watching us on YouTube every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we are over 92,000 subscribers now, creeping towards 93.
Yes.
And if you could help us out and subscribe, we would appreciate it. When you subscribe to the podcast, it tells you when we drop new videos, when we go live, and it helps the algorithm. Other people can find us because you hit subscribe. I know it doesn't sound that simple, but it is that simple, because Google goes, oh, people like this. Other people will like this. Let's show it to other people. And then we grow.
What was that accent you just did?
It's Google. That's how Google talks. Oh. And then we get bigger and we keep getting to do this for free for you. Absolutely.
We love that.
Yes.
And there's still time to enter to win. Not for you. Still time to enter to win the brand new iPhone 16. Go to winfromkim.com. No purchase required. Winfromkim.com. Winfromkim.com. See?
Is it going to be a used, refurbished phone that Kim just used for a couple of weeks?
No.
No,
It'll
brand
be
new
brand
one?
new out of the box.
All right.
So you have a couple of guys in their early 20s, and they're sitting around and they say, you know what? We need to make some money.
Everybody does.
Okay. And so they said, well, how can we really make like big money? Not just like $50,000, $100,000, not $100 million. We're talking like, how can we make $285 million?
That's such an exact number to go, but you got to have your goals. I get it.
So they figure out that there's a billionaire in the tech industry that lives in Washington, D.C., and that he holds a whole bunch of Bitcoin.
Okay.
A lot of Bitcoin. So they figure out how to get into his Coinbase wallet.
Wait a minute. You're not supposed to be able to get into someone's Coinbase wallet. It's supposed to be like one of the most secure cryptocurrency wallets on the market.
And they take all his Bitcoin away from him. $285 million. So they live in Miami and in Beverly Hills.
In the United States. I was expecting this going to be somewhere around the world.
Well, one of the guys is from Singapore.
Okay.
But they are living in the United States. And so, like, I know somebody who actually ran into him at a club in Beverly Hills.
One of the thieves?
Yes. So they would go to the club, and then you have to buy tables now at a club.
Right.
Okay. And they would put up like Dom Perignon or 1492, whatever it is.
Bottle service, baby.
Like to the tune of $100,000 a night.
Wow. Well, they had $285 billion.
Okay, they're buying. One guy bought a girl a Lamborghini and gave her 5 Birkin bags. Each of those are about 35, 50 grand each.
Okay.
And said, if you'll go out with me, you can have the Lamborghini and the 5 Birkin bags.
I go out with them.
Okay. And speaking of Birkin bags, he would also at the clubs, the 2 guys, they would put out Birkin bags, okay, and like on their table, And so if some girl's walking by and she's hot, they'd say, "Hey, do you want a Birkin bag?" And she'd be like, "Sure." And so he would just, and they didn't have to have sex with the guys or anything. They just.
So they're stupid too.
Yes. Yeah. Like I was reading some of the comments. It's like they did all of this and they couldn't even get laid.
Right.
Okay.
That's the whole point.
And so they had a mansion in Florida, in Miami. And so they're living large.
Sure.
Okay. Well, of course, the feds get wind of this. And so they have been arrested.
Did the billionaire know his money was missing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he did. Now, and so so I was thinking about so how could they get into the guy's Coinbase account? Okay. And how did they know how much Bitcoin they have?
Right.
And Bitcoin is traceable. A lot of people say well, how do we know where it went? But, there are digital traces all around. And, if a guy lost $285 million, he's not going to be like you, I lost $100 in the slot machine.
Right.
You're
not going to go check the cushions of the sofa. Okay. That's something that you don't keep around the house.
So they haven't been reporting about how it actually happened. But my inclination is that he was SIM swapped. SIM swapped, where it's like one of the guys pretended to be him, and they called into whoever his carrier was and said, I need to have a new phone, and that I lost that phone. Can you make that SIM card work on, or virtual SIM or whatever, work on this phone? And here's the IMED number, and serial number for the phone, and good things like that. And so they turned on that phone. His phone went dead. The billionaire's phone went dead. He probably thought the phone broke, or he didn't have service for that particular moment. And so now that they have his phone, they can sign into his Coinbase account because they have access to all of his apps, the two-factor authentication codes, whatever it is.
That's not good. That's very terrifying, actually. And I don't have $285 million to lose.
So what you want to do is you can put a PIN on your account.
Okay.
And so if somebody calls in and they say, "Oh, I lost my phone and I don't know what to do about it because I have to get into my Coinbase account," that you can say, "My secret code is 0000." That
would be Kim's.
No, it's not.
That's been our phone code for 15 years.
Yeah, I know. It's really bad. It's really bad. So let's talk about AI chatbots.
Okay.
Perplexity. Have you used that one?
Not yet.
Oh, really?
It's a new one to try.
Perplexity.ai. It's got some money from some big names like Jeff Bezos.
Okay.
And a lot of VC companies like Sequoia, I think, or Susquehanna, or one of them's there.
Amazon doesn't have an AI, do they? An official Amazon AI?
Well, they have Rufus.
Oh, it must be doing well because I've totally heard of it.
Rufus, when next time you go sign into Amazon, and then if you look on the left-hand side, it says Rufus. And Rufus is there to help you find products because you're just not able to use the search bar, I guess.
It's tough. It's tough to search things.
How
do you spell linoleum? I have no idea. I need Rufus to help.
Although I will tell you, I was looking for one of these. I'm such a geek sometimes. I was looking for one of these chargers. It's a multi-plug charger. You ever seen one of those? You plug it into the USB port and it has every other port in the universe.
Right, yeah.
But I don't want it to go into the USB port. I want it to go into the Lightning port and then give me all of the different chargers.
I'm sure that's there.
I don't know. I looked for a while and then I just gave up. I was like, pretend. I'm like, I'm going to call John. I have an IT genius. John will help me do that.
How long is a Kim Commando while? 30 seconds?
Exactly.
45 seconds.
Yes. That's short attention span theater. It's like, okay, I looked and went, I can't find it. Okay, John will find it.
Next.
Okay. So there's Rufus, and they also have Amelia.
Okay, I've never heard of any of these.
Okay, Amelia's there if you were a third-party seller on Amazon.
Okay.
And so that if you're like, I don't really know how to write this product description for these fabulous shoes that are Hey Dudes knockoffs,
okay.
Then you can go ahead and do
Yo-mans instead of Hey Dudes or Yo-mans.
Yo bro. That'd be a good name.
It would be. Yo bro.
Yes.
Start making the t-shirts.
Yo bro. All
right, Perplexity.
So Perplexity has figured out, and I knew this was going to happen, and I said it was going to happen, and then people here in the studios are like, that's never going to happen, but now it's happening. Wish people would just listen to me every once in a while. Just every once in a while, just listen to me. So when you get your search results,
right,
on Perplexity, it's going to say, so if you say who's the best tech expert in the entire world,
right?
Okay, right now I just pop up.
Sure.
Okay, but somebody could buy a sponsored post to say like they are the biggest tech expert and then go above me. I like sponsored results on search pages.
Why is that a bad thing?
Well, it's like it's getting mucked up. I mean, now you really have to pay attention to what you're looking at.
Okay.
And so
is Perplexity just a search engine, an AI search engine?
well, no, it's an AI chatbot.
So I can have it, if I ask it to write, a paragraph to describe the Yo Bros, is there going to be an ad above that as well?
There could be.
Okay.
And so this is where we get into we have to just delve a little bit more in the topic is CPMs. You know what a CPM is?
Yes.
Cost per thousand.
Right. I was going to say, I know, but explain to everybody else because obviously I know.
So for every 1,000 people, you're going to spend X dollars.
Dollars. Yeah,
yes.
of course.
Okay. And so what do you think the CPM is on an ad on a web page?
I don't know. 10 cents?
Higher than that.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, but it could be like $1.
Oh, that's way higher than I thought.
Let's say that you go to Google and you want to buy the keyword for your competitor. In the insurance industry,
okay,
super expensive, you might spend maybe $80 to $100 CPM for that. Okay.
So meaning if I am Farmers and I buy Allstate?
That it's going to cost you a lot of money.
Okay.
Podcast CPMs, that can range anywhere from $3 to $50.
Okay.
But $50 really on the high end. Okay. And that's for a really big company, a personal endorsement. So now this is just a link on a chatbot.
Right.
They're going to be charging a $50 CPM, which is, I think that is outlandish. I don't think anybody's going to pay for it. And if you do, you're a dope.
But do they have enough traffic to even get to those numbers?
Oh, yeah. We're talking I think I saw a number 200 million users.
At Perplexity?
Yeah,
really?
Or something like that. Some crazy number.
That is crazy.
And so, but what this means is that if Perplexity's doing it, Google's going to be doing it, Microsoft's going to be doing it, Chat GPT's going to be doing it. Always going to.
Why wouldn't they though? I mean, if someone normalizes it in the market, then we all just accept it and we move on.
Exactly. So, do your kids play with Legos?
Yeah. Oh my! Don't even get me started on
why.
Legos. Their grandmother. I hope she's not watching. She'd be very embarrassed. She pulled up her Lego app at the end of last year. How much do you think she buys everything through the Lego app because you earn points?
Okay.
How much do you think she spent in the calendar year of 2023 on the Lego app?
For how many kids?
2. Francis and Eloise.
$300.
$17,000.
No way. No, 17 grand?
Yes. If you go into their Lego room at their grandma's house, there are just unopened boxes, not the completed sets, not the stuff they're in the middle of. Unopened boxes, probably 100. Now, also, these things are not cheap.
No.
I mean, they have the Death Star, which they haven't even touched, and that's like $1,000 Lego set.
$17,000. Okay, and I thought I was eccentric. Okay.
Now, she loves Legos too. It's like her therapy. If she's stressed out, she'll just sit down and build Legos. That's her thing. It's her money. She can do whatever wants.
Well, they also have adult Legos now, where you can make flowers and centerpieces.
All Legos are adult Legos.
No,
I would think there are more adults that do Lego sets than there are kids.
Have you ever stepped on one?
Of course.
Everybody has.
It's the worst.
It's this little thing just jams right in.
That 4x4 in the bottom of your foot.
So I don't know. There was this big upsurge on the internet about Legos.
Okay.
Because Legos did a survey and they said, we're just wondering, we want to be a sustainable company. Okay. We want to help the environment.
All right.
We don't want to have any waste. So therefore, from now on, we're just wondering how you folks would feel about this. Is that instead of putting printed paper in the Lego box, where there's going to be a QR code, and then you could just get the instructions off the QR code. Okay. And all the Lego fans went, no way! No.
You can do that now. I mean, it's available in every single Lego set now. But to a Lego person, which my children and their grandmother are, those books are invaluable.
Yes.
They love those books. And it is part of the tradition of sitting there and flipping the page and doing. I wouldn't want to do it on a tablet either, to be honest with you.
No, I wouldn't want to do it either. I wouldn't want to do it.
But like it or not, Lego's going to move that way.
Well, they have to. They will do it. So what's your favorite thing? What's your favorite Lego that you guys have built?
Oh, probably the Transformer stuff is good. Or no, the car stuff, like the car models that's supposed to match and look like the real cars. With my daughter, she builds these cities. I don't know, they have friends, Lego friends, which is supposed to be Legos for girls.
Yeah.
All Legos are for everybody. It doesn't matter. It's Legos.
I always thought that was stupid.
But build a little cafe, a little barber shop, a little pet store. They like doing that.
All right. So, there's that wildly popular forum on Reddit, Am I the A-hole?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to read you this story and then tell me how you'd respond.
Okay.
Okay. A Redditor wants to know, after not taking away their 3-year-old's iPad on a flight, see what happened was a nearby family with a kid the exact same age asked if the Redditor would put away their child's iPad since they were not allowing any iPads for the entire vacation. The Redditor said, "No, I'm sorry, I can't do that. This is my kid." The other kid just cried for the whole rest of the flight. How come he has an iPad and I can't have my iPad? What's going on? So who was in the right? And so the Redditor wants to know, am I the a-hole for keeping the iPad with my child and just letting the kid across the aisle just cry the whole way?
No, absolutely not. These two groups, people, they do not intersect. They may in this moment, but what I'm doing for my child and my child's needs, I don't care what your kid needs. How about this? How about you send your kid on over, have them sit next to mine, and they can watch the iPad together for the whole flight?
Yeah, but the nerve of the person reaching across the aisle saying, "Excuse me,
right.
Can you put that away because my little Johnny is not allowed to have an iPad?" And he's upset. But meanwhile, your kid, we don't care about your kid.
How about you sit there and you then have a conversation, interact, draw, color, play cards, whatever you planned on doing in the flight, you do it with your kid the entire time and leave us alone. There's no way you're an a-hole for doing that.
No, that's not going to work.
At all.
No. Hey, it's Kim Commando Today. It's your fun podcast about everything digital. Now, I know you're wondering, is this the Kim Commando Show? Oh, dear one, it is not. But thank you so much for asking. And I appreciate your loyalty every single day, and every person who just wants to know, is Kim Commando Today the Kim Commando Show? And
thousands.
And I hate to disappoint you.
But there's no disappointment. It's two different things.
Two different products.
You double up on Kim.
Yes.
It's not. It isn't the Kim Commando Show. The Kim Commando Show is a highly successful radio show that's been on forever. It's on over 1,000 radio stations. 25 billion radio stations.
No, 25 billion listeners.
Oh, I apologize.
This
is Kim Commando Today, which is an addition to the Kim Commando Show.
And so either one is really perfect for your walks.
Sure.
And for your chores, and for, and either one is going to make you sound super smart at those dinner parties. And when you're out and about with your friends, you can quote things, and you don't even need to say who it's from. But if you're looking for the show, just search for Commando wherever you get your podcasts.
So we have the Kim Commando Show podcast and Today. Perfect.
And the Daily Tech Update.
Oh, I forgot.
Okay.
We missed an opportunity to plug something else. Apologize. Do you remember the Titan, the submersible?
Yeah, that was so sad. But but it just looked, when I looked at it, and it just looked so small. I actually got pitched to go on that.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Do you remember how much it was going to cost you to go on there?
I want to say it was a couple $100,000.
Yeah, it was between $150,000 and $200,000 a person, and unfortunately, everybody that was on there perished. And then after the accident, when we all went, how, why? We started learning about the company and the cost that they were allegedly cutting, and the things you mentioned earlier in the show. It was run on a video game controller, a wireless video game controller.
What was that about?
This whole was rigged. Well, it's coming out now that how they tracked it was with pen and paper and an Excel spreadsheet.
Wait, I'm sorry. How they tracked what about it?
The location of where the submersible was.
The location?
Yes.
There wasn't a GPS whiz-bang thing on the inside?
There was software available. But instead of letting the software do all the calculations and then connecting it to the internet and having it do its thing, they chose, I don't know if it was for cost reasons, most likely was after everything we've heard about this, but they chose to do everything by hand, put it into a spreadsheet, and then manually enter that information into the software that would then bring them around.
Okay, but that's like delay, human error, transposing numbers.
Right. The human error is the part. You are giving yourself so many opportunities to make a mistake that could cost people's lives.
I didn't know this.
Which in the end did. They were doing everything so poorly, so cheaply. The guy who ran this company, unfortunately, he's no longer with us. It was all about money. It was just a money grab. He was told multiple times on multiple levels by multiple different people that this is not safe and this is going to, excuse the pun, blow up in your face. And it did. But he did it because he was doing everything wrong.
Okay, so wait, I'm going back to the GPS
Sure.
and doing the calculations. So somebody in the sub would radio up.
Before the ride, when they were mapping out how the submersible would go.
Because you have different tides and flows and everything.
Depths and safe areas and unsafe areas.
Yes.
They would do everything by hand first. Pen and paper. They would then put that into a spreadsheet in Microsoft Excel and then manually put that into the location software instead of letting the location software do all the calculations, do everything for them before they would go.
Okay, how could anybody think that this would be remotely accessible?
So that's what I was thinking.
And acceptable. I mean, why would they do that?
Well, that's what I was thinking. This guy must have been such an amazing salesperson.
Yeah, you're right. He probably had incredible charisma.
Or just the fact that he was not being forthright and telling the truth on how this thing worked. And he sold it so hard that you convinced wealthy people time and time again to fork over huge amounts of money to sit in this little cube and look out this small window to look at the Titanic.
Well, one of the guys I remember reading, one of the billionaire that died with his son, he was apparently like super obsessed with the Titanic. And I mean, like he wanted to go down and see it. And I mean, this was a big deal.
He's a billionaire. If you told him the truth, what was happening behind the scenes, he's not going to go. Exactly. The risk was too much. It was still there. So this guy must have just had, like you said, the charisma to convince people to take his Atari joystick and his pen and paper and go down and see the Titanic sub.
So somebody who worked at SpaceX should have, he should have hired somebody from there.
But he wasn't interested in doing it right. He was just interested in making money.
Yeah, but you go down at that depth.
He risked his own life.
That's true. He actually thought it was going to work.
You think he actually thought it was going to work, or he was just had his fingers crossed that it was going to work?
Speaking of the Titanic, years ago, my mother, she went and got her eyes done.
Okay.
And because
it sounds like the beginning of one of your jokes.
No. Well, okay. No. So she went. So she had what happened is that she was outside working in the yard and she got poison sumac.
Ooh.
And her eyes swelled up. And then, when you do that, the skin doesn't really, as you get older, it doesn't really go back.
Okay.
It doesn't go back. And so she had these big, I call them garage doors,
flaps.
Yeah. She had flaps going on there. So she went and got her eyes done.
Right.
And because it was covered by insurance, she was all super excited about it. So she came home, and remember, she lived with me and Barry. And she came home, she's like, oh, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get my eyes done and it's going to be great. And Barry looked at her and said, well, Virginia, you know what? It's kind of like when they put a marble bar on the Titanic.
It helped a little bit.
I'm like, what? That was mean.
Did she laugh?
Yeah, she did.
All right, that's all that matters.
I'll never forget when my son asked me where in Los Angeles I lived so many years ago. I couldn't remember the house number on the street, but a couple of minutes later, Ian read me the exact address. He found it on a People Search website for free, along with my personal cell phone number. Yikes. It's not just me. I hear from folks all the time, shocked at what they can find out about themselves online. That's where Incogni comes in. Instead of navigating these tricky sites, Incogni does the work for you. So far, they've removed me from over 150 websites. Plus, my personal data is on 24 data suppression lists, meaning it's illegal for these companies to get my name ever again. Even better, they check on a regular basis that data brokers didn't sneak me back in. Try it for yourself and see how easy it is. Get 60% off with Incogni at privacykim.com. That's privacykim.com, 60% off now. PrivacyKim.com. Hey, it's Kim Commando today. It's your podcast about all things digital. We are so glad that you're here with us. And just a quick reminder, make sure that you enter to win the brand new iPhone 16. You're going to love it. It has a button on the side for AI. That doesn't work. But anyway, it will work one day. It will, I promise.
This is the worst pitch for this contest you've ever had.
Is it really?
Yeah, you're not selling it.
Okay. Be the coolest kid on the block.
There we go.
Okay, get the new iPhone 16. And guess what? You can get it for free if you go to winfromkim.com. Once again, that's winfromkim.com. Winfromkim.com. Okay, so, we're not getting into politics because I wrote about it in the newsletter and people are like, oh, Kim Commando, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, and everybody says, do they really sound like that? They do.
You can talk about politics without being political. You can talk about the political scene without taking a side.
I know, but it doesn't matter because some people will hear one little word. They're like, oh, you're anti-Israel. Oh, you're anti-Hamas, whatever it may be. Okay, because I wrote this whole thing about how the pagers maybe went off in the walkie-talkies and how it happened. And then people are saying like, can my smartphone blow up like that if somebody really wanted to? But let's go back to the pagers and the walkie-talkies.
Right.
Because, I live with the incredible Dr. Science.
You do.
And we have exciting, thrilling dinner conversations sometimes. And we were talking about the Apollo AR-924 pagers and the ICOM walkie-talkies.
Right.
About how it was really possible for the Israeli military to have those things just blow up.
Allegedly, the Israeli military.
Allegedly. I don't know who else it could have been.
Allegedly.
It's
like P. Diddy allegedly threw those parties, okay?
I still can't get over the baby oil.
Can I? So much baby oil. Can I see if I understand it correctly and you tell me if I'm right?
Okay.
So the way I understand it is the people that got exploded made this huge order of technology. They ordered solar panels, walkie-talkies, and these pagers.
And pretty much like old tech.
Right.
Because they thought it was going to be safer.
Correct. Not be tracked. They, you can use it and still communicate. That was mass-produced by a company, and then the shipment was intercepted.
Correct.
The pagers and walkie-talkies were then disassembled and added software and explosives, then reassembled.
And up to and including factory seals on every box and every device. So it looked like, just like you got a brand new iPhone, you just take all the plastic off.
Right.
So go ahead.
So then this software would allow it to operate absolutely normal, function correctly until one single message was sent out. And when that message was sent out, all at the same time, all of the pagers would then explode.
Correct.
Okay.
Which is mission impossible.
Sure. And who was working with them? Whoever they were. Who was working with them in the process? Was it the shipping company? Was it the manufacturer? Was it a middleman?
Well, I had heard and read that the pagers and the walkie-talkies were manufactured in Taiwan.
Right.
Then they were shipped to Budapest.
To a middleman.
Yes. And that's where
the deal was struck.
And they were disassembled.
Okay.
And then put back together. And then they put out a code that they thought it was, people wearing the pagers and the walkie-talkies, they thought that this was an important message.
Right. If you see the video, I'm sorry to interrupt, but if you see the video of the guy who was at the convenience store, when he looks at the pager, he's not running from it. He's bringing it closer to him because, like you said, it was something that was a positive for him or something he needed to pay attention to.
Right. And so now people are asking me, like, can this really happen to a smartphone? What do you think?
Absolutely. If you could take old technology like that with software that would be able to do that, new technology is going to be even more advanced. The only thing is there room in here?
That's the problem. I was just going to say, well, you've got a couple of things going on. Is that the phone companies are so concerned about secrecy and trade secrets and competition, stuff like that, that there are actually armed guards on some of these assembly lines. And of course, with all types of surveillance cameras. Okay. But we also know that doesn't always work because there's always that story of the guy like in Silicon Valley is having a drink and like leaves his phone.
His
and,
prototype iPhone 29.
You know, one time I was in Hawaii and I forget, we were at some restaurant and this guy was wearing like new AirPods. And I went over to him and I said, wow, what are those? I haven't seen those because you know me, I'm so shy. Okay. Hi, how are you?
Would you like to sing a duet with karaoke with me after you tell me the answer?
And he's like, oh, I shouldn't be wearing these. He was so pompous. I shouldn't be wearing these because they're super secret. And da, da, da. And then Ian looks up on Amazon. He's like wearing knockoffs.
Oh.
You know? So
It wasn't even prototypes.
No, not at all. Not at all. And here I'm like, oh wow, those are cool. Yeah. So there's just not enough room in there.
Okay.
To really be able to put an explosive device inside your phone.
Again, when you watch the video, that pager was huge. Like you think of a pager like 1980s or 80s and 90s, JJ King of the Beepers, those little ones.
I forgot about JJ King of the Beepers.
I loved him because I'm the owner and I'm the king of beepers. This was a pretty substantial sized pager that the guy had on his waist.
And those ICOM walkie-talkies, as I know about ICOM, you know, because...
Your husband?
Yeah. That's
You're so lucky.
I am. Love is in the air. Just ask me about ham radio.
No, I don't want to.
Okay, that was
I'd fall asleep.
Okay, that was still. I have told so many people that line.
Which one?
The line that you. Oh, it's the funniest thing. I think it's one of the funniest things that you've said.
What did I say?
Is that I think we were three of us, or you were over at the house or something like that, or maybe it was at the old house. Mm-hmm. And he has like, you know, this whole big ham radio set up. I mean, let me tell you, folks, we're not just talking about like a ham radio and one microphone. We're talking like map on the wall, like the whole wall.
Remember when you said you had the antenna on your deck and I was envisioning like a television antenna?
No.
It's like a 12-foot antenna.
Oh, no.
It's just laying on your deck.
No, I know. I mean, and we have like antennas.
Yeah.
I mean, we have like, in the old house, he had like, I don't know, 12 antennas, 15 antennas up on the roof. And now at the new house, this is so funny. So at the new house, I said, you can have one antenna.
Ooh.
Okay. I don't want to see it. Because at the old house, they said they didn't want to see it, but they kind of did creepy crawly over the years.
Right.
So it was like taken up.
You can barely see it.
Yeah, exactly. You know, if you go around the corner, you'll be able to, if you sit by the pool.
Just close your eyes. You can't see any of them.
So he puts up this antenna. I think it's probably, let me think, 150 feet up in the air?
Okay, up in the air.
Yeah.
So from the highest point of the house to where the antenna is.
And then it has antennas that are coming all out on each side. It looks
a
like
monstrosity.
a flower. Yeah. Okay. And so he puts this up and I said, I don't want to see it.
Could you see it?
Okay. So I'm standing so at one time they had it in one part and I said to Carrie, as his buddy who helps him all this stuff, I said, Carrie, I can see the antenna. You better move it. Okay. So they move the antenna. So now I'm in my bathroom and I can see it if I stand in a corner, but I'm like,
you have to work at seeing it.
Yeah. So it's not like it's just like, and I look out my bathroom, I see it as an antenna. And I actually have to look like a little bit around the corner. And then I did tell Barry, I can see the antenna. And he said, I'll paint it green. And I said, okay. Okay.
Compromise. Marriage is about compromise.
Okay. So about 2 weeks ago, gate bell rings. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. And it's like, hi, I'm attorney so-and-so. And we understand that you're running a radio station here. Okay.
What?
And I'm like, huh? And I said, honey, it's for you. Okay. And so guy comes in, he says, the next door neighbor's complaining because your radio broadcast antenna is interfering with her television.
Oh, no.
Okay. So Barry explains to the guy that it's on two different frequencies, that there's no way that his ham radio antenna could be interfering with her television. And then he says, well, my client says that it's against the law for you to have this antenna. And then Barry's like, according to statute, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Okay, because he's already ready for this. Okay.
He's locked and loaded, ready for this fight.
So I said, so what's the real problem with the antenna?
It's ugly.
He said, the woman, she looks out her patio. All she sees is this big antenna. Just sitting right there.
Did he paint it? Was this after painting it?
This is before painting it.
Okay.
So I said, Barry says he's going to move it. And I said, I'm like, I'm not, he should move it. The neighbor needs to pay to move it.
Turn her house around.
So now he's putting up a flagpole.
To put the antenna on top of?
Yeah, I don't understand. He's going to put it on the other side of the property. And
I'm sorry.
I know. I don't know what happened, I'm not sure what happened. But anyway, the funniest thing you ever said is that you were standing there and he had talked to you or shown you all the ham radio stuff. And, and he gets super excited. He's like a 12-year-old boy talking about all this ham radio stuff. And then you looked at him and you said, let me get something straight. And Barry's like, what? He goes, you gave up a job making $500,000 a year to spend $200,000 to talk to some guy in Green Valley, Arizona.
Right. On the daily.
Yes. Talking about, well, what's the heat index by you?
The dew point is high. Thanks for telling me, Gary.
It's so true. Sometimes I'm walking by and I hear, well, I'm thinking we're going to be having steak for dinner.
You can just text them, Barry.
And then Barry says to Ian, you ought to learn ham radio. You should get your ham radio.
Barry
license.
said that to Ian?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
And Ian looked at him and goes, I got Snapchat.
Right, exactly. It's 3,000 times better.
I'll never forget when my son asked me where in Los Angeles I lived so many years ago. I couldn't remember the house number on the street, but a couple of minutes later, Ian read me the exact address. He found it on a People Search website for free, along with my personal cell phone number. Yikes. It's not just me. I hear from folks all the time, shocked at what they can find out about themselves online. That's where Incogni comes in. Instead of navigating these tricky sites, Incogni does the work for you. So far, they've removed me from over 150 websites. Plus, my personal data is on 24 data suppression lists, meaning it's illegal for these companies to get my name ever again. Even better, they check on a regular basis that data brokers didn't sneak me back in. Try it for yourself and see how easy it is. Get 60% off with Incogni at privacykim.com. That's privacykim.com. 60% off now. privacykim.com. Hey, it's Kim Commando today, and I'm trying out something new. If you get our newsletters, you know that I'm trying out something new. Is that if you have a question for me, what you can do now is leave me a voice memo. So cool. You can just record your question, and then you can send it to podcasts@commando.com, podcasts@commando.com. And I'm telling you, the audio quality is pretty phenomenal.
You know, it's funny. I was watching football yesterday, and after the game, they were showing a clip of a player being interviewed in the locker room. And instead of microphones with mic flags, everyone just had their phones up to the player's mouth, and you could see all the voice memo recorders happening on all the phones.
How cool is that?
But that's radio quality. That's television quality audio they're looking at.
And I'll tell you, it is. There's a couple of questions that came in. So I'm not really quite sure where we're going to use them. We may use them here on the podcast. I thought maybe we'd play a question or two. We may put them on, the bigger show, the Kim Commando show. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so if you have a question about your digital life, it could be your business, it could be taking care of your kids, taking care of your parents, trying to get something done, whatever it may be. You want to ask me like how I became so wonderful. You can send a question to podcasts.
That'll be the longest episode in the history of this show.
Podcasts at command. I only do that because it drives you crazy.
I know.
Podcasts with an S. Podcasts at commando.com. KOMANDO.com.
Two guys, they live in the Philadelphia area, and they are in a fantasy football message board and league together. Let's call them Michael and Greg.
Okay.
Michael hates Greg.
Okay.
With a passion. They're always going at each other on the message board. It's a very active community, and they're yelling at each other, and they're fighting over stats, and they're fighting over wins and losses. And one week, Greg beats Michael. And of course, he's going to go on the message board and rub it in.
No.
Exactly. And he said, you know what? This is great. This is one of the best things that happened to me. Right before I take my trip to Norway, I smoke you in fantasy football. So Michael comes up with an idea. Of Greg's going to Norway. I'm going to call the Norwegian police and tell them that a 5'7" redheaded man from America is going to have a mass shooting in the malls of Norway.
Oh,
while he's on vacation.
Oh, ouch.
And he said that they need to be on the lookout, gave him descriptions, names, information on flights, and they need to arrest him when he's in Norway. All over fantasy football. So they investigated. They found out that Greg was there, wasn't going to plan a mass shooting, had no weapons, just wanted to go on vacation. They got back to the U.S. The U.S. is now in contact with Michael, and Michael is in very big trouble for saying that his rival in fantasy football was going to do a mass shooting in Norway.
Okay, that's bad.
That's one of the worst things I've ever heard.
That's awful.
I mean, he could have ruined this guy's life.
Yeah, that would be really bad.
He would have been in an international prison.
Yes, and sitting there going, I didn't do anything. I just picked the wrong team.
And thank goodness for the Norwegian police. They knew right away something was off about this guy. You know, not a lot of people call with hot tips about guys they hate in fantasy football leagues.
I have an idea. So, Sheriff Joe Arpaio.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're not familiar,
yes.
Here in Arizona, Sheriff Joe Arpaio, he became nationwide known. He was the sheriff of Maricopa County, and he had the pink underwear, and the outdoor
bologna
tents.
sandwiches.
Yes.
Every day, breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Right.
Bologna sandwiches, outdoor tents in the middle of the desert.
I've met him about, I would say, 6 times. And every time he'd come up and go, "Hey, I'm Joe. What's your name?" Andrew.
Well, you know what? He's helped me out.
Did he?
Yeah, he has. I had a stalker.
Did you?
Yeah. And I called him up and I said, "Hey, Joe, you know, I'm getting like weird stuff in the mail."
Can we talk details or no?
Nah.
Okay.
And then also I got a call from Courtesy Ford or some Ford dealer that said my cousin just bought a car and I'm supposed to go over and pay for it. And it was really bad.
They didn't sell them the car, did they?
Yeah, they did.
What idiots.
And so anyway, so I called Joe and I said, "I don't know what to do about it."
Right.
And he said, "I'll take care of it." And like 3 weeks later, he said, "Have you ever gone to the McDonald's on this street in Tempe, Arizona?" I'm like, no. He goes, "Don't."
Why?
I guess that's where the person worked.
Oh, okay.
but about the police and the airplane. So I forget where I was. I must be probably coming in from California, New York, or something like that. And so I had gone by myself, and so I land into Phoenix. Mm-hmm. And the flight attendant, just as we land, the flight attendant comes over to me. She says, "Miss Commando, you will be the first one off the plane." And I said, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. Okay, first of all, everyone else would react with, "Oh, what's going on? This is weird." Oh, yeah, of course. Obviously, I'm going to be the first one off the plane. Will the pilots carry me out?
Exactly. Can somebody carry my bag? I'm just wondering. And so, and then she gets on, she makes an announcement and she says, "When we get to the gate, we need everybody to remain seated just for a couple of minutes. And then I will give you the go ahead for everybody to get off the plane." Okay. I'm like, okay. So
you weren't nervous? You were literally gloating in this moment?
No, I was. Then I thought something had happened to like my mother or somebody, like a family.
Okay.
Because I thought like, this is kind of a weird thing.
I would think it would only be negative stuff.
Okay. So then, the guy from the jetway, drives a little jetway. Mm-hmm. He gets off the jetway. He comes in and he like grabs me by my elbow and he escorts me off the plane. And I'm like, "Wait, I got to get my bag." And he's like, "We'll get your bag." And then he sends somebody right behind him and they get my bag. And like, he's holding me by my elbow. And so we get to the end of the jetway and there's Barry holding a Maricopa County Sheriff's badge up and says, "I'll take the prisoner now."
What happened? It was a prank?
Yeah, because I'll take the prisoner now.
He used someone else's badge to give you
Sheriff Joe gave him like an honorary sheriff's badge.
It's honorary. It's not real.
So I'm sitting there going, he's like, and everybody's looking at me like going like, I wonder what she did.
Oh, that's why he grabbed your shoulder. He had to keep you under control.
Yes.
You were internationally wanted.
I know.
It was just to get you off the plane quick?
No, he's just pranking me. So it's like,
way to go, Sky Harbor.
No, Barry. Yeah.
But they should not have let him on.
Well, he was the sheriff. He had to go get the prisoner.
God. It's a good prank, though. Gotta be honest, good
You
prank.
know what? It was good.
And you remembered it.
I know. You gotta I'll take the prisoner now.
Now you gotta get him back.
Oh, I have so many times. The guy, you know what? He just believes everything. He does. It's just, sometimes I kind of feel sorry for him.
Yeah, that is a bad quality where a husband trusts a wife. What a dope.
Where it's like, he'll say, like, what's for dinner? And I'll say, well, I'm thinking we're going to have, like, cod with some mashed potatoes and spaghetti with meatballs. And he'll be like, well, I don't know if I want the cod.
It's not like fish?
Yes. No, but it's like he goes through, it's like, none of it makes sense.
Yeah, none of that works together.
Yeah, but it's just, I don't think I want the cod.
He can use his badge to make sure you don't cook the cod.
This program is a copyrighted production of Westar Multimedia Entertainment and protected by the copyright laws. Any rebroadcast or use of this program for commercial, business, economic, or financial purposes without the written permission of Westar Multimedia Entertainment is strictly prohibited.
As a major research institution, Arizona State University offers the most online bachelor's degree programs, along with world-class faculty and dedicated support. Discover why ASU is ranked #1 in innovation for 9 consecutive years. Tap to learn more.